Hey everybody, Mac and Damer here for OCR Kings, and it is the first sit rep of the 2025 season, and things are starting off with a bang. This is pretty awesome. Of course, it comes from our dear friend Tom. He didn't waste
Yeah.
1 minute. He jumped in on the first trifecta weekend of the year. This was at the Paris Lake facility, I guess, out there in
That's right.
SoCal.
SoCal.
Yeah, so he jumps right in, Damer, if you're looking at this as I am.
I do like his usual because as soon as you start reading his sit rep, you pretty much need to open up several tabs
You get some
just
history.
to learn a bit. And so it's like he starts off right here, introduction.
He's
Like
like
you and everyone who you've ever known are proud. We are proudly living in the Holocene,
the Holocene. Yeah,
Holocene, which began 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. Our ancestors came out of that ice age armed with only spears, animal furs for clothing, and a legendary can-do attitude. All right.
I love
Yeah.
it. I
The
love it.
course at the Paris Lake area has a bunch of geological remnants of these melting ice sheets. And he definitely gives his first link of the day.
It's yeah. Apparently, there's artwork of the people who inhabited the region
Yeah, and I
thousands of
guess
years
I
ago.
yes,
Amazing.
and then further on, which we will touch upon yet, you actually run past it in the Beast Course.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty cool.
that's cool. Some cool history there.
So Tom continues on. Last year, the Paris Lake Trifecta weekend was held under sunny skies with temperatures in the 70s and provided a great winter getaway. This year, however,
Not
things
so
were
much.
decidedly
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
California wildfires raged for almost 2 weeks, shutting down parts of LA and creating havoc for the local infrastructure.
You
Yikes.
know, you know.
Travel was questionable leading up to the race, and airlines did not offer to change flights without penalty until the last minute. Yikes. Paris Lake is about 90 miles northeast of Los Angeles, so writes Tom. Potentially impacting highway travel. Ultimately, the fires did not create an issue for the greater Moreno Valley, where the race is held, but it's cooler and in rainy conditions definitely defined the race for
Yeah,
many.
all right. Yeah.
When we were out there in January, coming from the Northeast, it's freezing here, and you think sunny California,
Yeah,
and you get there, it's 40 degrees in the morning. I don't care where you've come from, that's cold.
that's
All right,
cold.
cold if you're going to be in the water, cold if you're going to be in shorts. It was a cold time. So the same seems true for this past weekend.
That's right.
So Tom writes also of the Spartan relief efforts. Spartan announced a
This is
relief
pretty
program.
cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Non-perishable items from racers to aid those impacted by the wildfires. And he said, by the time he dropped his bag off at 6:15 a.m., the pallet was nearly full already.
Yeah.
So right on.
Well done, community. Nice job.
Definitely. Nice job.
Yep, says they partnered with the local WMCA to handle the distribution of said collected perishables. So just awesome.
Nice
Yep,
work.
and cool that Spartan's doing that.
It's pretty cool. I have a feeling that Tom is going to continue to be a wealth of information, and he's going to have maybe some tricks up his sleeve later
Yeah.
on in the season. I think you should definitely stay tuned because we're going to hear a lot more from Tom, and we're going to be announcing some things, I think, on his behalf very, very soon. Speaking about it,
Yep.
announcing some things, Spartan Race has given us some discount codes, as a matter of fact. So if you want to save 20% off your next race, use discount code
Dash
OCR-KINGS.
Kings. Yes.
OCR Kings, hopefully save 20%. And we'll have some announcements later on about some free races. We have some specialty codes, which we're going to be sharing as giveaways later in the season.
Yes.
So as we
Yep.
continue on, Tom's talking about the weather.
Yep. The weather on Saturday started in the low 40s for those early heats and got up to mid 50s with strong winds by noon.
Yeesh.
So that'll certainly freeze you, especially with the water obstacles. On Sunday, temperatures were cooler with a light rain, but at least the wind abated. Tom packed some compression and a rain jacket, and he actually utilized them on Sunday. Since he never wears gloves, He's not a glove guy, but he was using some hot hands for the first mile or so on both days. Just so not going into any of those overhead obstacles in those cooler temperatures. Don't want any frozen fingers.
Right on. He's
So
talking about hypothermia, guys. You're in the med tent. He
just
was
seems to
asking for
happen.
information. You get the
Uh,
shirtless wonders out there. It's 40
uh,
degrees before wind chill. It's time, gents, cover the nips. You need a shirt on.
yes,
You're not
yes.
you're in the Holocene. You're not from the Pleistocene, okay? You're not from the last ice age, you dunce. Wear a
Yes.
shirt.
So he
Okay?
definitely mentions more than a few cases of borderline hypothermia.
So dumb. So dumb.
Yeah.
What do you have to prove? Just because you're waxed and shorn, put a shirt on. You're not doing anybody a favor by going shirtless, especially if you're going to be a cold weather casualty. That's just
That's right.
dumb. If you definitely
Yes.
want to learn more about where this Paris Lake Recreational Center is and its relation to the world 12,000 years ago, okay, he's going to provide some really incredible information including who inhabited the coastal and inland area of what is now the larger Southern California region. They were skilled hunters who hunted deer, bighorn sheep, and antelope using spears, bows, and arrows, combined with teamwork and understanding of animal behavior. Sounds a lot like Spartan racers. Okay, you're working together. You got some
That's right.
spears out there.
That's right.
If these guys miss, they starve to death. If you miss with a spear throw, you have to do
That's
30
right.
burpees. So it's not so bad. All right. There's a prominent petrograph painted on a huge boulder at mile 8 of the Beast, just like you mentioned,
Yeah,
Damer.
see, I read that. I thought that
That's
was just
pretty
so
cool.
cool to see some actual history. That's
Guess
neat.
it's that red pigment, and they made from iron oxide, I guess, gathered from the hills. All right.
That's right.
So
On to the course.
speaking of the Beast
Yeah,
course, it was nearly identical to the previous year. Damer, you called that out in the map review that we
that's
did
right.
just a little while ago. You spent the first 7 miles in a big loop around the lake with no real elevation. Sounds pretty nice. The terrain had no trees, but sparse vegetation that was dead and nearly black from lack of rain. Yikes,
Yeah,
fire hazard.
that's
It's
right.
not hard to imagine how a spark or a small fire could ignite this type of brush and it would burn for days. Here we are, 3 weeks into those giant fires. He is totally correct. Second half of the race sent them along the shore of the lake, running on the beach, and it wound its way along the shoreline for 6 solid miles. Part of the beach running part of it, excuse me, was beach running, parts running on a path, and parts in small groves of trees. There was no really technical portions of any of this terrain, and the beach was compact. Very good, not much of an issue. This sounds like a great course. This might be where you go for your personal best.
Yeah.
If you're looking to do speed and you want to do it early on in the season, it sounds like SoCal is the way to go. Pretty
Yep.
awesome.
So it says the super course eliminated the loop around the lake, while the sprint cut to the beach early in its routing.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, yeah. So it's like fast times for everybody.
At Richmond High? No?
That's right.
Okay. So, Damer, what does Tom tell us about the obstacle placement here?
Well, is critics of obstacle placement will have a field day with this setup. Obstacles were heavily backloaded along the beach. It's like, but I'm going to say it's a trifecta weekend. The fact that you've got a beast, a super, and a sprint in the same location, I think that's totally fine. I was like, I have no problem with that. It's when they're just doing a beast or just a super and they're all stacked up is when I get my feathers ruffled.
Right on.
Yep. For the beast, there were a series of easier obstacles, such as horizontal beams and walls, before they sent us out on the lake loop, which had virtually no obstacles. Most obstacles were backloaded on the super and sprint courses. So that's back along that beach area.
I guess that's where I get to jump in because I loved it so much in New Jersey, for instance, where we had 4 miles of running and no obstacles. But, I have a special place in my heart for that sort of thing. It's called running marathons. But I prefer to run Spartan races over marathons, so I would prefer there'd be some more obstacles sprinkled in here and there. But I digress. I digress.
So one of the things that you and I talked about in our map video was the mention of lattice wall.
Yes, we got some feedback. I want to hear what
Yeah.
Tom has to say. We got some comments on the other video, but what does Tom have to say
Yeah.
about this?
When we came up to Lattice Wall, it was nothing more than a 7-foot wall with horizontal slats, a super simple obstacle. I
Okay.
have no beef with the obstacle itself, but in the name, the Merriam-Webster, it is not a lattice.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's what I
So
have under my deck. Lattice tends to, have a pattern
yeah,
with the crosses.
look like lattice. Yeah, so he's absolutely correct. This obstacle had nothing to do with lattice. So he proposes a write-in campaign to change the name of the obstacle to something based on reality.
I have one because it's the same thing from Tough Mudder, Ladder to Hell.
Yeah,
What Ladder to Hell is? It's
yeah,
just the planks and you go up. Sounds more dubious and dangerous than it is, but it definitely might fit the bill a little bit better than lattice wall.
that's right. Yep.
So for the Beast, they came into the beach right after multi-rig, where they had a dunk wall set up in the lake. Cool. That had to be cold.
Yeah.
Spartan did
Yep.
something fantastic here for the Beast, given we are in Southern California, home of Navy
Yeah.
SEAL training.
Little
Cool.
Coronado's
Uh,
nearby, so that's very cool.
They
Yep.
designed a preschool, this is a quote now, baby version of Buds. This meant a 20-foot swim out into a cool, choppy water under the dunk wall and then back to the beach. After they got out of the water, there was then an uphill barbed wire crawl on the sand, and then they moved on to the
Yeah.
kayak carry.
Yeah.
Cool.
Little boat carry.
All right.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
spoken about, location specific obstacles and, working in something that's special, maybe just to
Yes.
that locale. I think they did it here. Bravo,
Yeah,
Spartan.
definitely. Yeah.
Hey,
So
hey.
further along in this little segment that Tom writes, he did say that sad to say, after the Beast, they did shut down the dunk wall due to increasing winds. So it meant that super and sprint racers missed out on that whole experience. So
Yikes.
kind of a
That's too
tough.
bad. So the boats were like the plastic. I've seen some pictures of them or some videos. They were like a
Yeah,
bluish
plastic
green sort
kayak.
of
Yep.
composite material. That's all right. Okay.
Yep. Not heavy, just strangely shaped, so they're unwieldy. Yes. You only had to carry them about 20 feet into the lake for a turnaround.
He said the series of obstacles, though, was memorable. It was a memorable obstacle setup and put a local spin on the race. It's almost like I've heard
Yep.
a genius. I hate to use that term. No, I don't. It's like some genius.
Talking about
Uh,
me again?
like, I think we've said that many, many times, and it's good to see folks agree, and that it's been taken to heart, I think. Okay, more,
Right.
specific and unique obstacle setups unique to the venue. That would be awesome. All right, but like you said, the super and sprint racers missed out on the experience with the dunk wall, with the wind and hypothermia. That's too bad. All right, this course has
Yep.
always had a long first sandbag carry that used a paved section of the lake. Interesting. This year they threw in a second longer sandbag carrier with those green sandbags. Okay, the construction ones, the
Yep.
building dams, the unbranded one. It was about a mile long, and then you got to the multi-rig. Then it was the Herc hoist and slip wall coming in for the final obstacle, which was the A-frame. Okay, no fire jump.
Yeah.
Obviously, that this year especially is just a no-go.
Yeah. Well, they'll never do a fire in California, anyways.
So your favorite, Damer, the t-shirts. What was
Yeah.
going on there?
Yeah. So T-shirt has a nice design for the new season. The Spartan logo is larger, and the back has a design that incorporates the boar. This year there are only unisex sizes. That's interesting. So there's no male and female cuts, and they seem to have a more athletic fit. So
Oh,
if
so
you're
the
if you're still in the bulking phase or just gaining weight when you
which
don't
I,
want to,
which I am. I'm
consider
doing one of those. I'm not telling you which one.
you might consider sizing up.
Yep.
The medals this year are a great design, and the trifecta weekend medal almost looks like a multi trifecta medal. That's cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yep.
Oh
Oh,
boy, for those racers who have not gotten your shield from Greece yet or are back owed multi-trifecta medals, they had some on hand for racers at this event. Wow. They plan to identify what you are owed, and if you are registered and provide them, I guess, your information, they'll get them to you at a future race. Okay, so rest assured, the multi-trifecta things,
yep.
they're going to get them to you.
Yep. So in summary, it's like glad to have a January race instead of the Jacksonville kickoff in February, March with an early season race. You're always rolling the dice on conditions, but we still get some of those miles in and a trifecta under our belts so we can adjust our training. That makes sense.
Hmm.
In December, Tom said he redid his entire strength, running, and lifting programs and found out a little bit about how he's responding to the new approach that he's taking care of. So there's definitely some wealth of info from Tom by going through something like that. Races,
Absolutely.
and then races are a feedback and a great way to get body feedback early in the season. So he can make some adjustments to that training, nutrition, and recovery. Yep.
Right on.
Overall, a solid venue to get feedback. It is runnable and the conditions are reasonable for this time of year.
He also wants to thank his ancestors, all of our ancestors, really, because through genetic and cultural links, they got us and him through the last ice age.
That's right.
You will never, this is a quote, you will never hear him complain about the weather. That's all right. Leave it to me. I will
That's right. Because you and
complain.
I will.
Put me anywhere in any situation. I'll find
Yes.
something to complain about. Damn it.
Give me my snivel gear.
That's right. That's right. So thank you, Tom. We appreciate your efforts as
Yes.
always. Congratulations on your first trifecta of the year. I'm sure there are going to be many, many more. More information coming about Tom. If you're looking to save 20% off your next race, again, the code to use is OCR-KINGS,
Kings.
KINGS. And, we hope to see you guys out there on the course later in the season. But
Right.
until that time, remember, as always, train hard.
Have fun.